It was a freezing winter night. I was coming home late from a double shift at the factory, exhausted, cutting through a quiet residential street just before midnight. The sidewalks were empty. Streetlights flickered weakly, casting long, broken shadows. As I passed a storm drain near the curb, I noticed something glowing faintly beside it. A phone. Face up, screen still on. I picked it up, thinking someone nearby must have dropped it. Maybe they were searching for it. I checked the lock screen. No emergency contacts, no names, no messages, nothing. I knocked on a few nearby houses. Some lights turned on, but no one opened the door. Others did, but no one recognized the phone. So I did what I thought was the right thing. I opened it. There were no contacts, no social media, no emails, just the gallery. Over 50 photos, more than 100 videos. I wish I had never opened them. The photos loaded first, one by one. Blurry rooms, dim lighting, people tied to chairs, bruised, bleeding, screaming mid-frame. Real pain, real fear. My hands started shaking. I told myself to stop, to put the phone down. But then I opened a video and my stomach dropped. It showed a man being tortured, and I recognized him instantly. He was my coworker, a friend from the factory. He'd vanished 6 months earlier, reported missing. Police reports filed, no leads, no answers. And now he was screaming on my screen. That's when I heard footsteps behind me. Heavy, slow, about 60 feet away. I turned around. 2 men were walking toward me under the streetlight, calm. One of them was holding something long, like a metal rod or a baton. The moment they saw the phone in my hand, they sped up. I ran. I sprinted down the street toward my apartment building, heart pounding so hard I could hear it over my own breathing. I slammed the door behind me and locked it just as they reached the entrance. They tried to break the glass, but I had replaced it months earlier with reinforced steel bars. They stood outside for a few minutes, watching. Then they disappeared into the dark. I called 911 immediately and explained everything. The phone, the videos, the men, the missing coworker. Police told me to stay inside. A patrol unit was on the way, 5 to 7 minutes. While waiting, against every instinct screaming at me to stop, I picked up the phone again. I needed evidence. That's when I noticed something in one of the videos. One of the masked men made a hand gesture while giving orders. A gesture I knew. A gesture I had seen my entire childhood. My blood turned cold. It was my father, the man who abandoned our family over 10 years ago, the man who vanished without a trace. I was about to tell the police when they arrived. They calmed me down, thanked me, and took the phone as evidence. I opened my mouth to speak, and my personal phone rang. I looked at the screen. Dad? He hadn't called me in over a decade. I ignored the call and told the officers everything, what I saw, what I suspected. They told me to not contact him, that they would investigate before making any accusations. They left, assuring me patrol cars would monitor the area daily. That night, I didn't sleep, because I still don't know how he knew I had the phone, and I still don't know if he was calling to explain, or to warn me, or to tell me that they know where I live.
It was a weekend getaway. Me and a few friends decided to hang out at a quiet beach not far from town, the kind of place locals go to clear their heads. We spent the afternoon talking, laughing, playing cards, just killing time until the sun started to set. As night fell, a couple of my friends headed home. Eventually, it was just 3 of us left, sitting near the shoreline, listening to the waves crash in the dark. That's when the wind changed. A sudden cold breeze rolled in, followed by a storm that came out of nowhere. The temperature dropped fast and the rain started hitting sideways. One of my friends suggested we take shelter in an old wooden cabin near the edge of the beach, about 100 yards away. We'd seen it before, abandoned as far as we knew. We ran toward it as the storm got worse. The moment we stepped inside, something felt wrong. The air was warm, too warm, and there was a faint smell of burned wood, like a fireplace had been used recently. That made no sense. We hadn't seen a single person near that cabin all day. No cars, no lights, nothing. We brushed it off. There was an old lantern sitting on the floor, covered in dust. Out of curiosity, we switched it on. It worked. The yellow light flickered to life, casting long shadows across the walls. We laid a blanket on the floor, poured some coffee from a thermos, and started playing cards again, trying to ignore the uneasy feeling crawling up our spines. For a while, everything felt normal. Then the lantern suddenly went out. Annoyed more than scared, one of us turned on his phone's flashlight. And that's when we saw him. A man was lying on the ground near the back door of the cabin. We froze. He wasn't moving. At first, we thought he might be asleep or drunk or worse. We slowly stepped closer, shining our phone lights on him. His skin was pale, almost gray. We panicked and ran outside trying to call 911, but the storm had killed our signal. No bars, nothing. One of my friends volunteered to run to the nearest police station to get help. He told us to wait by the cabin. And so we did. Standing there in the rain, soaked and shaking, we heard something. A sound coming from inside the cabin, from the back room. A low, dragging noise, like something crawling across the floor. Suddenly, the lantern inside turned back on by itself. Through the window, we saw a massive shadow moving along the wall. Footsteps. No, not footsteps. More like scraping. And then a wet, choking sound. A raspy gurgle. My friend grabbed my arm and whispered, "We need to leave now." He ran. I didn't. Curiosity or stupidity kept me there. I pushed the door open. The man was no longer lying down. He was sitting upright, smiling. A wide, unnatural smile stretched across his face. One of his eyes was gone, leaving behind a dark, empty socket. His mouth opened as if he was trying to speak, but all that came out was that horrible gurgling sound. Then he lifted the lantern up to his face, and I saw it. His tongue was gone, cut off deep inside his mouth. He dropped the lantern and lunged toward me. I ran. I didn't look back. Behind me, I could hear his laughter, wet, broken, inhuman. It followed me until suddenly, it stopped. When I reached the main road, my friend was there with 2 paramedics. One look at my face and they knew something was wrong. We waited until the storm calmed down, then returned to the cabin together. The man was gone. No body, no footprints, no blood. Just the lantern lying on the floor where he had dropped it. The paramedics took it with them for the police. I went home that night, and I didn't sleep at all, because deep down, I knew one thing for sure. That man was never injured. He was never dying. He was waiting.